All right, guys, it's that time again for the Covrprice Top 10 1 year later. All right, guys, we're going to get into this top 10 list. I'm really excited. This one looks really good. It's my kind of list. Some fun stuff on here. First, you know what to do with the subscribe button. Leave a comment down below. Let me know what you think about the list. Of course, hit the thumbs up if you enjoy the video. Follow me on all the social media, VERYGARY_comics, especially Whatnot. Guys, if you haven't downloaded the app, give it a download. Use the discount code down below. There's a link. Get you $10 off your first purchase. And speaking of discount codes, Covrprice.com. There's a link in the description for that too. Now, this list comes from our friends over at Covrprice.com, focusing on their top 10 from 1 year ago. I'm going to take you through how each title's sales compare from last year's market to today's current values. How did these comics do? What had a boost in price and what had a bust? And what better way to start than with number 10? This is the Department of Truth number 1, the Friesen Cover B. This time last year, The Hollywood Reporter announced that James Tynion, I always get that wrong, his comic Department of Truth was picked up by Elizabeth Murdoch. This lit a huge fire under all the various covers, which was already scorching hot due to its connection to Something is Killing the Children from Boom. This Friesen B cover was selling for a steady $20 raw, $137 or 9.8. Now, 1 year later, this book is a surprise bust. Typically, when pre-established heat mixes with content announcement, the book goes nuclear and continues to climb, though with no new content news. The value for this first issue dropped modestly for raws, down to $14, though rather sharply for 9/8, down to $61, which is more than 50% drop. This drop, big breath there, could also be due to the large supply available, as well as the plethora of covers and reprints that pulled focus away from this core B cover. Either way, surprise drop for such a high profile and talked about title. Guys, this is a perfect post-hype sleeper. Department of Truth was picked up. The book is still ongoing. There are 1,000,001 variants out there, and I get that, but this is number 1. I love that post-hype sleeper book. That means to me that the boom hit, right? The book hit, popped, and now it's been so long that the value is starting to trickle down. We are post-hype sleeper book. I expect this book to climb again when we start getting news about a possible show. Let's go down to number 9. This is kind of similar. Department of Truth number 1. As noted 1 year ago, the series was on fire. Now, James Tynion IV had quickly become the new it guy in comics. This standard cover was selling for $30 raw, had a high sale of $154.24 for a 9.8. 1 year later, this cover has held on decently for $31 raw, but also slipped almost 50% to $82 and a 9.8. Now, it's a break-even raw and a bust graded. Number 10 and number 9, you heard it here. Post-hype sleeper with potential growth in those 9.8s. I think it's on sale right now. I think this is a sale price, and I do think it's going to climb again. Let's go to number 8. I don't feel the same for this book. This is X-Force number 1 with the Deadpool trading card. Now, do you remember a year ago when X-Force number 1 was selling like crazy, all due to the high demand for this early, now some argued first, Deadpool trading card polybagged with this issue? Due to its massive print run, X-Force number 1 has always been notoriously that comic we all knew wasn't worth anything. But then it happened. It got hot and was hitting high sales of $54 for a polybagged copy with the Deadpool card. Now, 1 year later, the market moved on and this now sells for $15. Granted, this is still worth way more than it was prior to the March 2021, but 2021. Now, this is a bust. No 9.8s, of course, because this is the polybagged version with the Deadpool card. Once you open that polybag and take the card out, now it's just a standard X-Force 1, so you can't really get a 9.8 graded on a Deadpool polybagged card. It is a bust, and I don't think we'll ever see those kind of numbers again. I'd be very, very surprised. $15 now. Hey, I'd be happy to get $15 all day for a X-Force number 1 with the Deadpool card. Let's go down to number 7. This is Marvel Spotlight number 4. Now we're talking, guys. Last year, WandaVision was streaming where the Darkhold, a book of ancient scrolls written by a Marvel villain named Cthon, was revealed. This caused the Darkhold's first appearance in this issue to trend at a high sale of $710 for CGC 9.6 and $200 raw. 1 year later, we saw Wanda reading the Darkhold at the end of the series and also have seen it in the Doctor Strange and the Multiverse of Madness trailer. Marvel does seem to be putting some weight behind this Marvel artifact. While the raw fair market value fell to $111, a 9.6 copy had a massive sale in November of 2021 for $2,000. Now, it's a bust raw and a huge boost for graded, though there's still some meat on the bone for raw copies. I 100% agree. I love this book. This is one of the books on this list I was talking about that I'm really excited about. Love it. We haven't seen a 9.8 sale, right? So apparently $2,000 is the high for a 9.6. I do think there's room for this book on the raw side. Graded, 2,000 seems like a unreachable high mark. But you've heard me say this in videos prior. I have been wrong on the high sales on these graded keys. So we'll see. We will see. Let's go to number 6. Fantastic Four 185. Here we go. Again on WandaVision 1 year ago, the twins were introduced to Agnes's pet rabbit, Senior Scratchy. In the comics, Agatha Harkness has a son named Nicholas Scratch, whose first appearance is in this Fantastic Four issue. Nicholas is also a powerful wizard supervillain in the Marvel comic universe that has direct connections to both Mephisto and Dormammu. This connection felt deliberate and hinted of a possible appearance. Regardless, it hit a high sale of $30 for a raw copy and a 9.8 fair market at $300. 1 year later, we know nothing came from this reference and was most likely just a fun Easter egg. However, with Agatha getting her own Disney Plus series, there's still some rumblings of speculation. Raw values dropped to $12 for a fair market value, though there was recently a huge 9.8 sale on Heritage for $725. So it is a bust raw. It is a boost graded. Somebody spent $725 on this book in a 9.8. Does somebody know something about the Agatha series that nobody else does? Now, granted, the Agatha series is way out there. It's not coming anytime soon. But with that being said, could be a good key to grab and hold on to. For $12 for a raw copy, I'd take the gamble because you never know. If you guys remember, there was a lot of Easter eggs in WandaVision. I mean, a lot. It was loaded. Even in the intros to this show, there were Easter eggs left and right, and this is just another one. Will it hold weight? We'll see. Time will tell. With an Agatha series, could her son appear? I mean, it's not unthinkable. Stranger things have happened. Let's go down to number 5. This is Captain Marvel number 1. This is the one from 1989. Now, Monica Rambeau has had multiple superhero identities and all have seen increases in sales. However, her first solo as Captain Marvel series really took off this week due to her appearance on WandaVision. With speculation that she would take the Captain Marvel mantle, this issue is trending at $35 raw, $350 for 9.8. Now, 1 year later, we're expecting to see her appear as Spectrum, even though that's not 100% confirmed. There's also rumblings that Brie Larson may depart the franchise, fingers crossed everyone, leaving room for speculation of Monica taking the Captain Marvel title to grow. This helped this first stay pretty stable, dropping a tad to $28 raw, but exactly level at $350 for 9.8. Now, this is a break-even investment, break-even book, and there's a shot that she could take over the Captain Marvel mantle. We do know Miss Marvel's coming. That's around the corner sometime in 2022, the show. And I do believe the Marvels, which is supposed to be Captain Marvel 2, but I think they switched it to the Marvels, is slated for 2023. I don't know if we're going to see increases in this book, but if it's stable, maybe a decent investment. We'll see. We see where it was a year ago. We see where it is now. Let's go down to number 4. This is Taskmaster number 3. Now, if you recall, this was the FOMO book to have 1 year ago, as it features the first appearance of Taiguchi, aka Taiwan. It was hitting steady sales of $30 for raw copies. 1 year later, while Taiguchi, and I could totally be saying that wrong, hasn't quite found his stride with collectors, he's still present, most recently on the government-sanctioned Superhuman Response Team, Tiger Division. 1 year later, Raw sales still sell for $30. 9.8 copies are moving at a fair market value of $117. Now, this is a break even, though it's worth noting that the variant for this issue is on fire at a Raw fair market value of $311. That's the book fans are focusing on right now, which means the standard cover will eventually see some spikes. We've seen that where fans will target, buyers will target a variant of a first appearance. When that thing starts becoming out of reach, ridiculously priced, the focus goes to the cheaper standard version, and that's what we're talking about right here. Don't be surprised if you start seeing this book trickle up. Now, I'm not saying it's going to be a $500 book, but if it's $30, you may see it trickle up to $35, maybe $40. Could it push $50 Raw? Maybe. We'll see. But if everyone's targeting the variant, keep your eye on the A cover. Keep your eye on this book. Let's go down to number 3. This is Spawn number 1, guys. Another one I'm happy about on this list. We're getting some older keys here. This time last year, Spawn creator Todd McFarlane announced 4 new Spawn ongoing series focusing on Gunslinger Spawn, Medieval Spawn, Redeemer Spawn, and She-Spawn. This news gave Spawn's first issue a nice boost in sales and price, selling for $25 Raw, $207 for 9.8. 1 year later, the series have proved to be quite popular with solid sales. Whether it was these new titles or the growing nostalgia around the character, Raws have jumped to a current fair market value of $48, with 9.8s relatively stable at a fair market value of $203. Now, it's a bust for Raw and a break even for graded. Spawn number 1, guys. There's a bajillion of them out there, but still, great cover. McFarlane, classic, one of the best. I mean, it's got to be. Oh, it is the longest ongoing Image title, longest ongoing third-party title, whatever you want to say. You know, not Marvel, non-Marvel or DC. This is a big key. There's a lot of 9.8s out there, but for holding value at $200, nice key to own. Let's go down to number 2, Black Cotton number 1. 1 year ago, this provocative scout book that earned its place on the list for simply being a great read set in an alternative reality where the social order of white and black is reversed. An elitist family, the Cottons, are rocked by a tragic shooting that begins to unravel long-standing family secrets that can not only destroy the family, but also divide the fragile social climate of the world. It sold very well in the aftermarket, with the copy selling at $17 Raw. Now, 1 year later, the book has sold to $9 Raw with no 9.8 sales, which is a bust. However, if you like buying into possible content books, this has a great shot at getting adapted, and the entry price is low. I 100% agree. This has, an option written all over it. It's affordable. It's $9. Great story. People really dug it. Like, for a book to get hot based on the story alone, that says something. Now, is it a little bit of, FOMO? I don't think so with this book. And the reason I say that is because it's based on the story. It's not based on a speculation. It's not based on the book being optioned. It's literally based on a good storytelling. So with that one, this may hold a little value in the future. We have 1 book left. We're going to get into it, but I do want to remind you guys, check out covrprice.com. And again, sign up. There's a link down below in the description for a discount. Check it out. And let's go down to number 1. This is Avengers, the initiative featuring Reptile 1, or is it Reptile? I don't know. Let's get it here. Last year, with the solo series on the way, Marvel was calling Reptile as the next biggest hero. With this news, his first appearance in the Avengers Initiative issue went nuts price-wise, selling for a high of $70 for raw copy. 1 year later, despite the market liking the Reptile, his first dropped to $41 raw, though 9.8 copies are trending at a solid $344. While this is a bust, he's still a great character to buy into. A mutant that can turn into dinosaurs is pure gold and would be quite popular with the kids. He's an excellent character to invest in. We're looking at a bust on the raw side, which tells me there's value there. Do you want to spend $41 on this book? Go for it. Up to you. Buy what you like. There may be, you've seen the highs. Maybe 40 is the low. We will see. Now with that, guys, let's get into this. Let's run some numbers. This was an interesting mix of busts, boost, and break even. This was a mixed list here. There wasn't a particular trend this week. Some of the FOMO books that you would have thought would have crashed didn't, such as Taskmaster. And then the ones that we thought would keep climbing also went in the opposite, which was Department of Truth. Though let's look at the numbers. If you would have purchased all these books at market price, it would have cost you $511 raw and $18.58 graded for those books that did have graded books. 1 year later, those books are now worth $339 raw, $34.21 in 9.8s. That would have lost... You would have lost 172 raw, made yourself over $1,500 graded, though most of the value is in that 9.6 sale for the Marvel Spotlight 4, which would have been an extremely tough book to find in that high of a grade. So for the most part, skipping these books last year would have been the way to go, though moving forward, what books are you going to pick up and hold? Guys, make sure to check out Covrprice.com. Check out their current top 10 and movers and shakers list. Come back next time. Let's see how we did with the books from 2 years ago. Thank you so much for watching. I do appreciate it. And as always, keep it comics.